All right, now for the fun part. With my layer highlighted, I'm going to go Shift, Option, Command, N, E, O. And I set up a shortcut. You can convert this thing to a smart object, wherever that is. If I undo that, what is it? Convert to smart object. And you got to click out here. You can't click here or here, all right? You got that? So I'm going to use my handy dandy shortcut. And then we go to the path blur. And again, I created a shortcut for this. It's under Filter, Blur Gallery, Path Blur. And notice I have this shortcut because I'm going to use this instead of motion blur from now on. Now by default, this opens up just like this. Don't change this. Don't touch this. Don't move it. Don't do anything to it. If you already did, undo, get out of here, hit cancel, come back, because it's important. You can't hold shift to keep this thing constrained to, this is 0 degrees, it's flat. You can't constrain it to 90. You just have to guess. And to get perfect, this is it. We want perfect blurs. We want the blurs to create geometry. So you can't touch this. Do you got that? All right. And I'm telling you that because I've touched it and I did things and it gets close, but it's not perfect. And we're looking for perfection. All right, so over here, we got the path blur selected. And look, we got speed, taper, center. What does that mean? What do these things mean? Watch. Motion effects. Click here. Now, if, without changing anything up here, I take the strobe strength all the way to 100, look at how some geometry is being created. If I take the strobe flashes down to 3, which is what I did in the example that I showed you guys, this is how that geometry is created. Do you see? Isn't this interesting how this is happening? And you might say, hey, what about these white lines going across? How are we going to deal with that? Well, let me show you. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to accept that. So click OK. And did I click? Yeah, Photoshop was doing some thinking. Now, had I had another layer and before this did find edges, we would then have our edges defined here. But for right now, there are lots of things you can do, and I've showed you those other tricks a million times. You can try that. Here's the trick I want to show you right now. I'm going to turn that layer off. I'm going to come down here and do that same thing. Shift, Option, Command, N, E, O. In order to create a smart object, you create it however you want. And now, before I do anything, I'm going to rotate this. And I have an action to rotate it. But because you may not have done that, I'll just come up to Image, Image Rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. Did anything change? Undo. There it went, didn't it? Command Z. Yep. Okay, so it did change. It did rotate. Now, if I come into the blur gallery again, and I'm going to use my shortcut, you can figure out how to do it, and change this back up to 100, this down to 3, and click OK. And we still have our blurs heading in the exact same direction if I turn this on. Well, notice how they look different, huh? Turn that off, turn that on. Vertical, horizontal. So what happens? Did I rotate the wrong one? I think I did. I think I was on this layer and I rotated this when I thought nothing happened. Okay, but, okay, I'm not recording this again. Just so you know, you need to have one with the lines going vertical and one with the lines going horizontal, and I rotated the wrong one. Hey, let's get over it. Okay, Scotchgo makes mistakes. Come to the upper one, start playing with the blend mode, shift with the move tool selected, shift up arrow, and you start getting, ooh, look at that. Now, if I hit Command 1 to go full size, look at that. It's perfect. Perfect. There's no stray pixels. There's no hint of a blur. And that's because we use that strobe. That strobe effect, when you dial in all the other settings, gives you perfect geometry. Okay, but I warn you, don't use the strobe effect with the 100 with the 100% strength or whatever that was called right above it, and start cranking that up, because Photoshop's going to choke. It's going to start lagging. But do experiment, see what you can discover. This to me is really cool, and there are so many possibilities from here. I just went in two steps into the blend modes. I haven't gone through this. I haven't made other layers. I haven't found edges. I haven't tried all kinds of other experiments in order to make more and more cool geometry, because believe it, it's there waiting to be discovered. So here it is, how Pixel Grid, a seemingly unassuming little app, can lead to really cool stuff. Have some fun with this.